Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we're going to be doing a first look at the game, World at War 85, Blood and Fury. So this is the, just arrived for me, latest edition in the World at War 85 series from Lock and Load Publishing. The Kickstarter campaign for this, or I guess it was actually GameFound, had a lot of delays and people were getting frustrated and angry and so on and so forth. Well, it's finally here. Inside the box was this box, as well as the expansion Operation Red Gauntlet, Crossing the Mighty Vaser. We'll see that in a moment. That's over to the side. So this is a pretty thick box, as you can see. And this box, I think the purpose of it is to help protect the actual game, which is inside this box. So if we crack this open, you can see here is the actual game box. And let me flip it over so I can actually get the game out, because the game is pretty hard to, it's wedged in here pretty good. There you go, there it is. Let me remove that box. There you have it. Blood and Fury, World at War 85. Next step will be to tear off the shrink wrap. So I'm going to pause and do that right now. Okay, here it is. It is a big, thick box, as you can see. The box itself is very heavy weight. It's got texture to it. You can hear it when I rub my hand across the box. And as you can see, it's Blood and Fury, World at War 85, Volume 2. This is kind of a retooling, deluxeification, perhaps, of the original World at War series that was created back when Mark Walker owned Lock and Load. And there was a game called Blood and Bridges, which I think is a rough analog to what this is based upon. So here we have the back, as you might guess, if you're observing. Blood and Fury, World at War 85. Got the story here. I won't read this out loud. We'll try and keep this relatively concise because it's a big game and there's a lot inside here. So component-wise, it's going to take a little bit to get through it. We do have what's inside: 9 counter sheets of 790 plus counters, 4 13 by 19 inch geomorphic maps, a spiral-bound core rule manual, a spiral-bound companion book, 8 11 by 17 player aid cards, 13 8.5 by 11 player aid cards. A lot of player aid cards, as you can see. That's 21. 6 acrylic flight stands, 11 16mm D6 dice, 7 formation/data card decks, 3 solo assistant decks, our unit scale. This is a platoon level game, so counters represent platoons of units. Our time scale, each turn represents 5 to 15 minutes. Each hex is approximately 150 yards wide. Playing time 1 to 2 hours based on the criteria of the scenario. And players 12 and up, it's friendly for solitaire or 2 players. Here you've got the credits. David Heath is the executive producer. Keith Tracton, design and development, and then the development leads: Keith Tracton, Jeff Schulte, Nicholas Michon, and Susan Davis. Graphics by Blackwell Hurd and Mark Von Marshall. Complexity, mid-range. Solitaire suitability, really high, a 9. I do have the solo assistant. I do have the previous game, the base game, the original game, if you will. This is standalone, but it does also pair up with the previous game. Now here, you can see the box is, like I said, really thick. This is a really, I don't want to bend it too hard because I don't want to rip it, but this is a really quality box, and you can maybe see the texture there. That's on the box. I don't like to spend too much time on the box, but I'm impressed by that. The usual add-ons inside the box here, a couple of, a thing about seeking help for, depression, mental illness, etc., and prayer and support, and then, of course, this is kind of what I consider maybe a bookmark, but it's got the game art on it, and then the counterized images of some of the people that are affiliated with or worked on the game at Lock and Load. All right, so here is the companion book, and you can see this is a monster of a companion book. It's got a little bit of a bend to it, but that's okay. Then we've got our rule book here, the core rules. It is rule set version 2.2. Again, spiral bound. This was part of the Game Found thing. All the stretch goals that were met. It is a pretty thick book here. It clocks in at, if we find some page numbers, these are the maps. Starter kit scenario. Over 120 pages, I guess, here. There's the index rolls through 122. Then you've got the complete credits here on the game. And then you get into starter kit scenario, matter of bridges, and so on here. On the Fulda River, southwest of Bad Hersfeld, order of battle, etc. So that's kind of what you would expect in the scenario. Now here we have a whole bunch of stuff. These would be the flight stands, right? So there are several of these. Those are kind of cool. Bunch of dice in various colors. Many cards, and they're not. And these are the solo cards here. Solo assistant, as you can see on the back, you've got the AEO orders. When I do play the game, we will go into the solitaire assistant and how it works and everything. I'll probably play the game both with and without, so you can see the differences. Because if you play without it, then you just play both sides. If you play with it, then this will help drive the enemy actions. And here we have some cards. Infantry parachute. Got more solo cards. Action event. Right. Formation cards. So these are your formation activation cards. They kind of replace the old chit-based system where you dump them all in a cup and pull them out. Now you use these decks of cards which have the ratings for the headquarters right on them. This, as you can see, is the UK's D Squadron 16th 5th Lancers. And then over here we've got some Soviet units. First of the 48th Guards Tank Regiment. And they have the same background, basically. But they are, of course, unit cards for all the... now, this one is a little north of the original one. The original one was... first game was Fulda Gap-based area. This one is more in the North German Plain, the area that the British Army of the Rhine was defending. Then we've got some cards here for various units, I guess. This is a towed mortar platoon, as you can see here. Soft target. And you can see kind of some information on it there, ranges, etc. Okay. Here are the maps. Well, let's finish the cards first. So here we have more. So West German Scratch Force. Then we've got the Battlefield Event Friction card, amongst other cards in here. I'll probably open these up here in a minute, but I wanted to kind of just give you a quick look at the components before digging in a little deeper. So these are the maps. Now let me move this out of the way for the moment. So we have here, looks like 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are numbered. As you can see, we've got 4 down here. If we open it up, you can see we've got a winter side, still map 4, winter side, and a non-winter side, so spring, summer, whatever you want to call it. I guess it could be faced this way. So you can get an idea of what the maps look like. If you've seen the previous game, it's pretty much the same design as you would expect. Got a town here. You can see all the hexes in the normal kind of ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 format. Got some water features. We got some forest. You've got elevation lines, roads, all the bridges, all the things you would expect to find on a tactical level war game map. So as I said, there are 4 of these. Here's map 5. We'll just kind of do a quick look at each map so you can see them. They are 11 by 17, so you're seeing the whole map here. This is map 5, of course. We have more water. We have another town. We have a nice ridge here in the middle, some forest, and of course roads. Here's the winter side, oriented the other way with the 5 at the bottom. They are the same map, as I mentioned. That's 5, and we've got 6 and 7 here. So here is 6, and that's 6 oriented in the bottom here. I'll flip it lengthwise so that we'll get the same orientation. So you can see there's some like rough terrain in this one, and very little water, though there is a couple of river features here, and some high ground and some forest, as you can see. Flip this lengthwise, like I said, and this is the winter, same orientation. So you can see the orientation of everything as it would look in the winter setup. And last but certainly not least, we have map number 7. So here's map 7. Spin it around. This one has a lake. So you can see, get the whole look here. Flip it. And here's our winter side. So good variation there for our 4 maps. And now let's bring the box back and we can start looking at some counters here. A lot of counter sheets and player aids at the bottom, so we'll save those for later. But here are our counter sheets. There are many of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So as I mentioned, many counter sheets. Here we have counter sheet 1 of 9, the front. Got some West German units here. HQ, some mortar 1A1s, some infantry platoons. We got another headquarters. You can tell by the stripes the units that go with the headquarters, of course. So top line is mostly blue except for the gold headquarters. Then you've got some M48A5 Pattons, so some old US tanks. We've got more mortars here with red and infantry, and then the green headquarters also is an infantry platoon, or infantry, battalion, I would guess. And we've got headquarters, maybe a company, might be a company. Anyway, no, I don't know. Leopard 2s and Leopard 1s. And down here, you've got some paratroopers and some helicopters, more Leopard 1s. These would be, I think, support units. Some UEs, UH-1s, the Fuchs, M109s, M110, so on and so forth. So a lot, you can see a lot, Mine Plow, Rolands, Jaguars, any aircraft platforms, Lukes, mortars, anti-tank, guided missile. And we've got Fliegerfaust and the Tornado for close air support. Some leaders, Colonel Altschuh, Lieutenant Colonel Wagner, Major Kessler, or headquarters. This would be Americans, I would assume, by the green color. We have some M1 Abrams and some M60A3 Pattons, a little bit more modern than the M48s, some Apaches, and some infantry. This is 3, a little bit out of order. Here's 2. Here's 2. So we got more Americans here, and we've got FV432 scimitars. These are the British. We got some challengers down here, some chieftains, etc. The Lynx helicopter. Some more self-propelled anti-tank guided missiles, Foxes. There at the bottom. This is 3. Some more British. Here. There we go. We got Tornadoes and Harriers. Land Rover. There's some self-propelled artillery, Rapier anti-aircraft, etc. And then we get into the Red Army here. Get the T-64s, some BTRs, infantry squads, as you might expect. More, got some bumps, some BMP-2s. Down here you have the T-80. You can see right there. There it is. And you get the idea. So here's 4 more Red Army, whole lot of Red Army units, as you might expect. And this is 5. Now we get into some final units and some markers. You've got smoke, you've got HE, chemical warfare, DPICM, smoke, no missile, low missile, reloading. Some more units here, bridging down there in the tunnel. Yeah, this is 6. Continue with more markers here, turn marker. Here's the north compass marker. You've got weather, squall, mud, electronic warfare, rubble, fire, burnt out. Improved positions, minefield placed, minefield random. Some numeric ladder markers, rather. I think that might be for acquisition. And we've got helicopter statuses, landed, nap of the earth, etc. Ferry, and then some more units here at the bottom. And number 7, this one's popping out. This is the back. So you've got Rex, more markers, out of command markers, disruption markers. And here is counter sheet 8. Some more units. From both sides. And finally, the last one, airstrike markers, etc. for both sides. Blue and red. Road march, fire for effect. So those are your 9 counter sheets. Many, many counters in this game. And now, let's take out our player aid cards, of which there are many. I believe I said there were 21 when we counted them up. So here's the drive to the Lina campaign map. So for the campaign, you can see you've got the BAOR reserve up here, and then various cities, I guess, that you are defending. And I believe scenario, well, I'm not sure what the numbers mean. We will find out when I go through the rules, which I have yet to do. This would be the campaign map, second campaign map. This, I think, is maybe the Russian side. Yeah, this is NATO. It's got the NATO symbol on it. Joe. And this one, of course, has the Warsaw Pact symbol on it. We have our terrain effects chart here with all kinds of columns on it. So you have your terrain over here, hill, woods, dense urban, light industrial, all water, wrecks, smoke, rubble, and the various effects for, movement cost for ground troops and vehicles, flying helicopters, defensive bonuses, fire modifiers, assault modifiers, the effect on line of sight, concealment for troops and vehicles, obstacle height, unit height for various things here. You've got ground units, helo in various statuses, landed, nap of earth, hover, and flying, and then the close air support. And on the back, you have the rest of it. So it's a 2-pager, basically. And then we have a second copy of that, I believe, or is this something different? Oh, this is 3C. So you have 3A, 3B, 3C, more terrain effects. And on the back, we have 3D, even more terrain effects. So a lot of terrain effects here. Now here we have Player Aid 1A, unit and card reference. So this will give you the information on the various units. So here you see you've got a chieftain, you've got your AP, range, firepower to hit here, the unit name, HE, range, firepower to hit, and full strength side with a solid band, solid formation color band, the armor, and the save number. So these are the number of dice, and then the save number would be the number you need to roll to successfully save. Movement points, and then assault, firepower, and to hit. So that's what all of these are, right? So this is the range. So 14 hexes. You roll 4 dice. You need a 3 to hit. Pretty straightforward. Then, of course, you have various here: heavy armor target, light armor target, vehicular soft target, troop soft target, right? All kinds of stuff for the various other units, helicopters, towed units, etc. So that's very useful. On the back, we have the counter reference. This will tell you what everything is. This is ops complete. Those X's that we saw in the counter sheets, you've got all the other ones explained as well. There you go. So that's very useful. And here we have 8A, line of sight, examples, and height reference. So you've got an example with a lot of letters. This is pretty standard in wargame rule books, where you have letters that tell you whether the line of sight is clear. So like A here, with the green line is clear. There's nothing interrupting the line of sight between the two units. Line of sight only goes down one hex side of a blocking hex, not two of the same. On the other side, we've got 8B, more examples for line of sight and height reference. That's particularly useful, of course. Here we have the drive on Lina, and this is counter references, operational map movement, your sequence of play, etc. And this is also the drive on Lina, the NATO symbol. Same thing, so one for both players. And we have player aid 5. These are the regular one sheets, single-sided, miscellaneous, move and fire summary chart, onboard indirect fire, minimum ranges for the various types of units that do indirect fire. So all about the indirect fire there. 13C, solo behavior table. So this one is also single-sided. We'll use this when we do the solitaire module. Now you've got holding boxes here. This is for both sides. HQs and special weapons ready, or squad, I think it's special weapons. Suppressed HQs and casualties, again, single-sided because you're going to put markers on there. And some formation tracks here. You got your formation deck and discard piles. And then Soviet and Allies off-board artillery tracks. Again, single-sided because you're going to be putting things on top of that. Turn record track, the weather track, the squall box, NATO and Allies off-board artillery tracks. Our player aid card, inventory. also single-sided. Our solo AEO, just explaining how the cards work. So this is also very, very useful. And this one does have a back, tables for solo setup, solo passenger table, solo location, solo AEO HQ. And we have scenario point cost limits for the battle generator, turn lengths and objectives, degree of victory. On the back, you have information about the battle generator. That could be a little hard to read in the one side because of the dark background, but I think it's workable, as you can see, when building your formations, companies and battalions, etc., etc. We have the weather change table here, player 5A, miscellaneous. On the back, we have 5B, missile ammo usage chart, special ability triangle reference. And here we have 4A, battlefield events table. So we got events, 2 or 3, higher command, HQ, one side affected. And then you have the actual effect of that. And on the back, we have the friction table. Consult one of 2 event side first, it says. So there's going to be a friction effect, I guess. Card inventory for all the different units, West German, American, British, Soviet. And every die roll in the series on 9A. Indirect fire, minefield. So it explains all the things you're rolling dice for. It continues. Below are quick summaries of all the die rolls you will find in World at War 85 series of games. Rules references are included. So like here, close air support attacks. That is in section 4.3 as direct fire. So this, and then direct fire is down here. You can see 10.4 combat, roll a number of d6 equal to the attacker's AP or HE firepower dice. Each die roll greater than or equal to the 2 hit value scores 1 possible hit. The possible hits are, of course, because if you're attacking a unit that has defensive rolls for armor, they can negate some hits. And here's our sequence of play. So this is player aid 2. Start with initiative, then you have operation, formation, impulse steps, available unit or stack actions, ops phase continued, marker removal, victory determination. And on the back, the direct fire modifiers. So these are all the things that can modify your direct fire power, which is really just the number of dice you will be rolling. So that is the base game. I'll show you the expansion. I'm not going to go into the rules because I don't want this to be too long, but this is, of course, a very large game. As you can no doubt see, I'm going to put the cards on top. And I think what we'll do is we're going to save the cards and so on for when we do gameplay. I know I talked about possibly showing them, but I decided I would prefer to wait on that, and we will just show them when we do. And I'm sure I'm not putting these back in a way that's going to let the box be flat, but perhaps I will. Maybe. Maybe. All right, let's see. Does it work? Hey, look at that. It worked. All right. Now, as I mentioned, I got the expansion as well, which is right here. Operation Red Gauntlet, Crossing the Mighty Vaser. Let's take the book out and look at all of these map sheets. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 additional maps. Many of them heavily urban. So this is map 49. And that is an extremely urban area right there. There's a lot of buildings in here. So I suspect this features some city fighting. So let's just take a quick look. So read the introduction at least. So here's the area we're talking about. Obviously, that is sort of south, the southern edge of the northern area, central area, northern edge of the central area, if you want to put it that way. You can see here we've got the West German first, the British first, the British Reserve. West German third is down here. And we've got the Soviet third Red Banner and elements of the 1st Guard tanks and 8th Guard armies. Guard shock armies, perhaps? Guards armies, okay. Introduction, let's see. Operation, I love the spiral bound. Operation Red Gauntlet is a set of expansion scenarios and maps for World at War 85, Volume 2, Blood and Fury, continuing the numbering. From the 16 scenarios in the main game, you will find scenarios 17 through 21 here. In this expansion, we introduced Map 8, an additional fully geomorphic map found in Scenario 20, Death from Above. Scenario 19, Cracking the Neeson Bridgehead, uses maps found in the main game 5 and 7. And it tells you the other scenarios, which maps they use. 49, 50, 51, and 52 show the city of Minden and its immediate area, the northern portion of the overall historic map area, while maps 53, 54, 55, and 56 cover just south of that. These 8 maps combine in a specific format shown below to recreate the city of Minden, West Germany, and its environs in 1985, but using World at War 85 series terrain symbology. Okay. Units from Storming the Gap are required for Scenario 21. I do have Storming the Gap, so that is good. So here is the entirety of that map they were talking about. And you can see there's a lot of urban areas in here. So apparently this is going to be a massive game. We're talking, what, eight maps, it said, to build this up. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive indeed. All right, so this would give you an idea of what the expansion adds to the game. You've got your scenario guide, number of maps that are used in here. To play Scenario 21, you will need components from World at War 85. Volume 1, Storming the Gap, including the Storming the Gap expansion pack. I do have that, so we would be able to do so. Be aware that this expansion book for this volume in the World at War 85 series is also called a companion and is the expansion's module and scenario rulebook, and so module rules are found herein. When referring to the book title expansion, it is synonymous with companion and module and scenario rules. Okay. So that I wanted this to be relatively quick. We're already at 30 minutes, so I want to stop here. So again, you've got a slew of maps here that join together to make that giant one. And we will see that when I do the gameplay for this, because I will play this as well. I plan on doing a lot of this game. I do love me some World at War. I do love me some Third World War, I should say. And that reminds me of the Kickstarter, the Kickstarter for the Long Road game from Flying Pig Games. That comes out on the 11th of February, or the campaign starts, I should say, on the 11th of February. That one is called Broken Logic. And that's World War III with a supernatural twist, which I think is pretty cool. I really, really enjoy the Long Road. Did I say Long War before? It's the Long Road. So the Long Road, Broken Logic, Kickstarter starts tomorrow. If you've watched this far, there's a little nugget for you as a bonus. But that's going to do it for this one. So I will obviously add this to the to be played pile, and I will try to slot it in sooner rather than later. There is always a lot to do and always a lot to go through, but this is, as they say, right up my alley. So I will try to get this one played sooner rather than later. For now, that will do it. If you have anything to say it. Post a comment or question. Otherwise, hope you'll consider liking, sharing, and/or subscribing. If you do any of those things, I appreciate the support. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very much. Until next time, I am Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel, and as always, happy gaming.